Hey yo, what's the deal? You know who it is. It's the Don. Cheer! Tony Teflon. House Teflon. Teflon 316. We pull the strings. Cheer! And back at you with another Melisandre. The final one we're gonna try to do, and I'll do the final part of this chapter, and we will wrap this chapter up. I hope that everyone has enjoyed this chapter so far. I have, and I would like to say thank you to, I have a 1,000 subscribers. Thank you very much. I never thought that I would have 1,000 subscribers. I don't even know if I deserve that much, but thank you for anybody who has taken the time to sit and watch my videos, whether you watch them and laugh at them, watch them and enjoy them, watch them and make drinking games out of it. Whatever it is, you know, I really do appreciate it, because as I like to say, and I've said, you know, you can waste my money because I can make more, but don't waste my time, because that's just something I can't get back. So as long as someone is watching me and do not think that it's a waste of their time, then I really do appreciate it. All right, let's do this. Let's get into this real quick. The fire is burning, and here we go.
Off at the sound of a war horn, and rose swiftly to his feet. All over Castle Black, Melisandre knew. The same sudden hush had fallen, and every man and boy turned toward the wall, listening, waiting. One long blast of the horn meant rangers returning. But two, the day has come, the Red Priestess thought. Lord Snow will have to listen to me now. After the long mournful cry of the horn had faded away, the silence seemed to stretch out to an hour. The wildling finally broke the spell. Only one then, Rangers? Dead Rangers. Melisandre rose to her feet as well. Go put on your bones and wait. I will return. I shall go with you. Do not be foolish. Once they find what they will find, the sight of any wildling will inflame them. Stay here until their blood has time to cool. Devon was coming up the steps of the King's Tower as Melisandre made her descent, flanked by two of the guards as Stannis had left her. The boy was carrying her half-forgotten breakfast on a tray. I waited for Hub to pull the fresh loaves from the ovens, my lady. The bread's still hot. Leave it in my chambers. The wildling would eat it, like as not. Lord Snow has need of me beyond the wall. He does not know it yet, but soon. Outside, a light snow had begun to fall. A crowd of crows had gathered around the gate by the time Melisandre and her escort arrived, but they made way for the Red Priestess. The Lord Commander had preceded her through the ice, accompanied by Bowen Marsh and 20 spearmen. Snow had also sent a dozen archers to the top of the wall, should any foes be hidden in the nearby woods. The guards on the gate were not Queen's men, but they passed her all the same. It was cold and dark beneath the ice, in the narrow tunnel that crooked and slithered through the wall. Morgan went before her with a torch, and Merrill came behind her with an axe. Both men were hopeless drunkards, but they were sober at this hour of the morning. Queen's men, at least in name, both had a healthy fear of her, and Merrill could be formidable when he was not drunk. She would have no need of them today, but Melisandre made it a point to keep a pair of guards about her everywhere she went. It sent a certain message: the trappings of power. By the time the three of them emerged north of the wall, the snow was falling steadily. A ragged blanket of white covered the torn and tortured earth that stretched from the wall to the edge of the haunted forest. Jon Snow and his black brothers were gathered around 3 spears, some 20 yards away. The spears were 8 feet long and made of ash. The one on the left had a slight crook, but the other 2 were smooth and straight. At the top of each was impaled a severed head. Their beards were full of ice, and the falling snow had given them white hoods. Where their eyes had been, only empty sockets remained, black and bloody holes that stared down in silent accusation.
All right. So right here we have Melisandre. She sends off Mance Raider as Rattleshirt and to go get his bones on because obviously she needs that bones to make his glamour more powerful. So she sends him off to go do that. As you can see, you see the dude coming back with the bread. Like I told you before, she sent him away to keep him away. He finally is returning for the bread. She says obviously she did not want that meal because she did not need to eat, so she knew she was going to have Mance in there, and that's why she got that food in there for him to eat. All right, and she goes out, and now you see her prophecy from earlier coming true about the with the Weeper and the People's Men. Obviously, she knew that the people on Night's Watch would be upset about this, so she didn't need Mance around, or Rattleshirt, whatever you want to call him at this time, around to provoke them in any other way.
Who were they? Melisandre asked the crows. Blackjack Bulwer, Hairy Hal, and Garth Greyfeather, Bowen Marsh said solemnly. The ground is half frozen. It must have taken the wildlings half the night to drive the spear so deep. They could still be close, watching us. The Lord Steward squinted at the line of trees. Could be 100 of them out there, said the black brother with a dour face. Could be 1,000. No, said Jon Snow. They left their gifts in the black of night. They ran. His huge white dire wolf prowled around the shaft, sniffing, then lifted his leg and pissed on the spear that held the head of Blackjack Bulwer. Ghost would have their scent if they were still out there. I hope the Weeper burned the bodies, said the dour men, the one called Dolor's Head. Elsewise, they might come looking for their heads. Jon Snow grasped the spear that bore Garth Greyfeather's head and wrenched it violently from the ground. Pull down the other two, he commanded, and 4 of the crows hurried to obey. Bowen Marsh's cheeks were red with cold. We should never have sent out rangers. This is not the time and place to pick at that wound. Not here, my lord, not now. To the men struggling with the spears, Snow said, Take the heads and burn them. Leave nothing but bare bone. Only then did he seem to notice Melisandre. My lady, walk with me, if you would. At last, if it please the Lord Commander. As they walked beneath the wall, she slipped her arm through his. Morgan and Merrill went before them. Ghost came prowling at their heels. The priestess did not speak, but she slowed her pace deliberately, and where she walked, the ice began to drip. He will not fail to notice that. Beneath the iron grating of a murder hole, Snow broke the silence, as she had known he would. What of the other 6? I have not seen them, Melisandre said. Will you look? Of course, my lord. We've had a raven from Sir Dennis Mallister at the Shadow Tower, Jon Snow told her. His men have seen fires in the mountains on the far side of the gorge. Wildlings massing, Sir Dennis believes. He thinks they are going to try to force the Bridge of Skulls again. Some may. Could the skulls in her vision have signified this bridge? Somehow Melisandre did not think so. If it comes, that attack will be no more than a diversion. I saw towers by the sea submerged beneath a black and bloody tide. That is where the heaviest blow will fall. Eastwatch, was it? Melisandre had seen Eastwatch by the sea with King Stannis. That was where his grace left Queen Silas and her daughter Shireen when he assembled his knights for the march to Castle Black.
All right, so Melisandre is walking with Jon. Obviously, she's radiating enough heat from her body that she can melt snow just by walking past it. John notices this. So once he notices this, he must realize that her powers are a little bit more real. And as soon as he notices this, he asks her if she's seen the other men, and he asks her to look for him to see other things. Now, this and there's another vision that she's seen earlier. I have already explained what I thought of it, of the shadow, so I'm not going to rehash that point because I'm sure you already know that. But that's what's going on here.
The towers in her fire had been different, but that was off the way with visions. Yes, Eastwatch, my lord. When? She spread her hands. On the morrow, in a moon's turn, in a year. And it...
All right, now this is interesting. He says Eastwatch. She said she knows that it's different because it looks different. But then she says to herself, that's the way it happens in dreams, and agrees that it's Eastwatch. Now, is it really Eastwatch? Or is she just going along with him to placate him a little bit here? That's what you have to ask yourself.
may be that if you act, you may avert what I have seen entirely. Else, what would be the point of visions? Good, said Snow. The crowd of crows beyond the gate had swollen to 200 by the time they emerged from beneath the wall. The men pressed close about them. Melisandre knew a few by name. The cook, Three-Finger Hub, Mully with his greasy orange hair, the dim-witted boy, called Owen the Oaf, the drunkard, Septon Celadon. Is it you, my lord? Said Three-Finger Hub. Who is it? Asked Owen the Oaf. Not Dywin, is it? No, Garth, said the Queen's man she knew as Alf of Runnymud, one of the first to exchange his 7 false guards for the truth of R'hllor. Garth's too clever for them wildlings. How many? Molly asked. 3, John told them. Blackjack, Harry Hal, and Garth. Alf of Runnymud let out a howl loud enough to wake sleepers in the Shadow Tower. Put him to bed and get some mulled wine into him, John told Three-Finger Hub. Lord Snow, Melisandre said quietly, will you come with me to the King's Tower? I have more to share with you. He looked at her face for a long moment with those cold grey eyes of his. His right hand closed, opened, closed again. As you wish. Ed, take Ghost.
Alright, so now she gets Jon Snow to agree to come with her to the King's Tower, and she notices Jon flexing his injured hand, flexing it and stuff like that. And now they're on the way.
Back to my chambers. Melisandre took that as a sign, and dismissed her own guard as well. They crossed the yard together, just the two of them. The snow fell all around them. She walked as close to Jon Snow as she dared, close enough to feel the mistrust pouring off him, like a black fog. He does not love me, will never love me, but he will make use of me. Well and good. Melisandre had danced the same dance with Stannis Baratheon.
Alright, what's significant to me is right there, she just said, he doesn't love me. He'll never love me, but he'll make use of them. Probably like Stannis sees her, and that's why she immediately seeks of Stannis. This, without question, to me, cuts her out of being Nissa in any way. Obviously, she knows that he doesn't love her. Maybe she wanted to be Nissa, and she was hoping that he would love her, and she could be sacrificed like that, but he doesn't, and she knows that.
Back in the beginning. In truth, the young Lord Commander and her king had more in common than either of them would ever have been willing to admit. Stannis had been a younger son, living in the shadow of his elder brother, just as Jon Snow, bastard-born, had always been eclipsed by his true-born sibling, the fallen hero men had called the young wolf. Both men were unbelievers by nature, mistrustful, suspicious. The only gods they truly worshipped were honor and duty. You have not asked about your sister, Melisandre said, as they climbed the spiral steps of the king's tower. I told you, I have no sister. We put aside our kin when we say our words. I cannot help Arya, much as I... He broke off as they stepped inside her chambers. The wildling was within, seated at her board, spreading butter on a ragged chunk of warm brown bread with his dagger. He had donned the bone armor, she was pleased to see. The broken giant skull that was his helm rested on the window seat behind him. Jon Snow tensed. You? Lord Snow! The wildling grinned at them through a mouth of brown and broken teeth. The ruby on his wrist glimmered in the morning light like a dim red star. What are you doing here? Breaking my fast. You're welcome to share. I'll not break bread with you. Your loss. The loaf's too warm. Hub can do that much at least. The wildling ripped off a bite. I can visit you as easily, my lord. Those guards at your door are in bad shape. A man who's climbed the wall 100 times can climb in a window easy enough. But what good would come of killing you? The crows would only choose someone worse. He chewed and swallowed. I heard about your rangers. You should have sent me with them. So you could betray them to the Weeper? Are we talking about betrayals? What was the name of that wildling wife of yours, Snow? Ygritte, wasn't it? The wildling turned to Melisandre. I will need horses, 6 good ones, and this is nothing I can do alone. Some of the spear wives penned up at Mole's Town should serve.
Real quick. So, you hear Mance laying out his plan and strategy. Now, the interesting thing about this whole plan and strategy, you think about, when they were talking about Arya, they're talking about her fleeing, right? She was already on the move. She was going to this, she was on the road on the horse. But then you hear him talking about he needs spearwives and all this for his plan to go into effect, to do what he has to do to get her. So to do that, she must know that's not Arya on that horse, and she must know Arya is still inside Winterfell. Or why would you say you need all these spearwives? Why do you need all these spearwives for? Just to go search for someone who's already on the road. They must know that she's back there already. So he's already planning on going to Winterfell, and she's already cool with him going to Winterfell.
Women would be best for this. The girls more like to trust them. And they will help me carry off a certain ploy I have in mind. What is he talking about? Lord Snow asked her. Your sister? Melisandre put her hand on his arm. You cannot help her, but he can. Snow wrenched his arm away. I think not. You do not know this creature. Rattleshirt could wash his hands 100 times a day, and he'd still have blood beneath his nails. He'd be more like to rape and murder Arya than to save her. No. If this was what you have seen in your fires, my lady, you must have ashes in your eyes. If he tries to leave Castle Black without my leave, I'll take his head off myself. He leaves me no choice. So be it. Devon, leave us, she said.
And once again, Jon Snow was not down with her going out there, going after Arya at all. Not whatsoever. To the point, you see Jon doesn't fuck around. Jon will kill people. And he has a very bad temper. And I don't mind that whatsoever. It's good that he has one. Needs one. And so she has no choice. That means if you hear she has no choice, she did not bring Jon in here with the plans of revealing that Rattleshirt was Mance. She did not want to do that. She has no choice but to do this at this point, at this time. She was thought that Jon would just be willing to send this dude after. That's what you think.
And the squire slipped away and closed the door behind him. Melisandre touched the ruby at her neck and spoke a word. The sound echoed queerly from the corners of the room and twisted like a worm inside their ears. The wildling heard one word, the crow another. Neither was the word that left her lips. The ruby on the wildling's wrist darkened, and the wisps of light and shadow around him writhed and faded. The bones remained, the rattling ribs, the claws and teeth along his arms and shoulders, the great yellowed collarbone across his shoulders. The broken giant skull remained a broken giant skull, yellowed and cracked, grinning its stained and savage grin. But the widow's peak dissolved. The brown moustache, the knobby chin, the sallow yellowed flesh, and small dark eyes all melted. Grey fingers crept through long brown hair. Laugh lines appeared at the corners of his mouth. All at once he was bigger than before, broader in the chest and shoulders, long-legged and lean, his face clean-shaved and wind-burnt. Jon Snow's grey eyes grew wider. Mance? Lord Snow. Mance Rayder did not smile. She burned you. She burned the Lord of Bones. Jon Snow turned to Melisandre.
So now John finally realized, oh my God, Mrs. Mance. And you burn the Lord of Bones. It's funny because when the Lord of Bones was being burnt, he was saying, you're burning the wrong man, you're burning the wrong man. You know, Mance, he was saying that when he was in the cage, obviously it was a Lord of Bones, and it made him look kind of like he wasn't, you know what I mean? Well, obviously it wasn't Mance, it wasn't, because he was telling you the truth, and he was burning the wrong man. And that's just the way it is, you know what I mean? That's what it was.
What sorcery is this? Call it what you will. Glamour, seeming, illusion. R'hllor is Lord of Light, Jon Snow, and it is given to his servants to weave with it, as others weave with thread. Mance Rayder chuckled. I had my doubts as well, Snow, but why not let her try? It was that, or let Stannis roast me. The bones help, said Melisandre. The bones remember. The strongest glamours are built of such things. A dead man's boots, a hank of hair, a bag of finger bones. With whispered words and
Weird to me that she would say a bag of finger bones and mention that as something that could be used for a glamour. Why would she just happen? Boots is, you know, a boots anyone has, you know. Anyone has this, but not many people have a bag of finger bones. But she specifically says, in using this, that that can be used for a glamour, a bag of finger bones, which Davos supposedly lost his finger bones in the Battle of Blackwater, his bag and stuff. But that's very weird to me that she would actually point that out, that a bag of finger bones is a great tool to be used for a glamour.
a man's shadow can be drawn forth from such and draped about another like a cloak. The wearer's essence does not change, only his seeming. She made it sound a simple thing and easy. They need never know how difficult it had been, or how much it had cost her. That was a lesson Melisandre had learned long before Ashai. The more effortless the sorcery appears, the more men fear the sorcerer. When the flames had licked at Rattleshirt, the ruby at her throat had grown so hot that she feared her own flesh might start to smoke and blacken. Thankfully, Lord Snow had delivered her from that agony with his arrows, while Stannis had seethed in defiance. She had shuddered with relief.
So, once again, you see that it hurts her. It's like I said before, to use these glamour powers, and it costs her a lot to do it. And like I said, when this dude was burning, she was almost about to burst into flames herself until Jon hit him with the arrows.
Our false king has a prickly manner, Melisandre told Jon Snow. But he will not betray you. We hold his son, remember, and he owes you his very life. Me? Snow sounded startled. Who else, my lord? Only his life's blood could pay for his crimes, your law said. And Stannis Baratheon is not a man to go against the law. But as you said so sagely, the laws of men end at the wall.
All right. So she says right now, like people try to say that she's controlling him, the man, with this Ruby. She says the reason why she has control of him is because she has this kid, and that he's trying to basically do this to get himself a pardon because she wants to do a good deed to wipe away his stuff. But as you know, Stannis will tell you that a good deed does not wipe away the bad. And that is why when I think this is all done, said and done, he will still be executed by Stannis Baratheon.
I told you that the Lord of Light would hear your prayers. You wanted a way to save your little sister and still hold fast to the honor that means so much to you, to the vows you swore before your wooden god. She pointed with a pale finger. There he stands, Lord Snow. Arya's deliverance, a gift from the Lord of Light, and me.
And there you have it.
Reek.
And there you have it. And that is chapter. So, Melisandre gives him a way to rescue Arya, and obviously he agrees to do it and sends her out there. So that's the whole chapter. I hope you enjoyed the chapter review, recap, or whatever you want to call it. Broke the breakdown. I enjoyed doing it and stuff, and I hope it helped explain a couple of things. And if I didn't explain anything, you have anything else you're having trouble on, just comment on it. And you know me, I answer all these comments as much as I can and stuff like that. And oh, also, and you do comment on my videos, I would just like to ask one thing: if I put a different person's name in the spot, please don't leave a comment and correct the name. I know. Usually I get tongue-tied and I know the name I'm thinking of, but sometimes obviously a lot of these names sound the same and I'll say a different name, but I mean the same person. You know that. Don't put it in the comment. Don't act like I don't know it. I know it. And so let's just leave those comments alone. There's no need for that. You know what I mean? And so I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know, in all honesty, I'm going to try to get back to something quick, but I don't know when the next time is y'all will see me. Hopefully soon, but I can't guarantee you that. Because I got things I have to accomplish soon. And then the deadline's drawing near on that project that I was telling you about, and I'm wrapping that up, so I'm going to be busy with that for a while. So hopefully you have enough content to get you through until the next time I'm able to get back at you and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's that. So as always, thank you. Subscribe, like, comment, tell your friends about me, put me on your Twitter. Let's try to get this house a little bit stronger. We 1,000 strong. Can we go higher? I think so. I think maybe we can hit 2 Gs. Maybe that's just fun wishing, but who knows? Maybe we can make it happen and stuff like that. So help a brother out, and let's try to get these things going. You know what I mean? And as always, it's the Don, Tony Teflon, House Teflon, Teflon 316. We pull the strings. Peace, people's champ, and I'm out.